All right, if the prosecutor's not willing to extradite from a state or two away, like for a misdemeanor, like such as what I did, I called in from Indiana. I turned myself into White County, Indiana, and had them hash out the extradition issue, and the prosecutors just kind of sat on their thumbs, and White County let me go on this arrest warrant. I was put on the NCIC. But then to have the prosecutors also try to use my past acts under the federal rules of evidence, Rule 404B, they can use past behavior in some way. They don't have to be convictions. They could be just arrests. Okay, it could be charges, not convictions. And that's up to the judge's discretion. I think the majority of judges, probably easily over 90%, probably turn that down, especially on misdemeanors. But it's like, I question if the prosecutor's not willing to extradite, but they are willing to use past behaviors against you, that doesn't coordinate. Okay? You got to be able to have both work in unison. You have to be willing to make that extradition if you want to use past bad behaviors. In my opinion, it's so easy just to find the information on the internet to use against you of previous arrests. But if I was in another state and got picked up, and you don't choose to extradite, then it doesn't really show how serious the crime is. And that tends to be the way it is for misdemeanors. And I think it goes hand in hand, Rule 404B and extradition, as far as misdemeanors go. And if you got a prosecutor who wants to use past behaviors against you, even tries, you can try to have them recused. Okay, you don't just recuse judges, you don't just recuse your own lawyers, you can recuse the prosecutors. You pay close attention to what the prosecutors say, and even their mannerisms. Their body language communicates a lot as well. The things that they do that can also be insulting to the defendant as well. You make note of that. So there's a real pick and choose. There's a real discretionary approach that the prosecutors use based on the severity of the offense, but it's also the convenience of the prosecutor. But they don't want to put that in the law. That's putting too many words in the law. The severity of the offense at the convenience of the prosecutor, and the circumstances that are happening, and the attitude of the prosecutor. There's a lot of factors going on, but they want to try to make it look as fair and impartial as possible, from what a reasonable person would see. All right, the prosecutor is supposed to be representing the reasonable person, and I mean, some things just don't make sense. I like to consider myself a reasonable person, and I wish for people in the judicial system to represent my views, but of course they're not. They're going against my views on what I consider reasonable. They're clearly not showing reasonable representation. So, as I said before, Rule 404B and extradition for misdemeanors should go hand in hand. You ask, would the prosecutor be willing to extradite me if I was in another state? If not, then why turn to 404B? If because I think they're very much aligned with each other.